What's good, Wizards fans? It's your host, the real Ed Oliver, my guy, Brandon Scott. The Wizards did not extend Rui Hachimura. The deadline was today at 6 p.m. We're going to talk about what that means for the Wizards, do some over-unders and more. Let's get to it.
You are Locked On Wizards, your daily Washington Wizards podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to the Locked On Wizards podcast. I just want to thank you guys for making Locked On Wizards your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get podcasts. Brandon, how you feeling today, man? First game of the season is 2 days away. How you feeling today?
Feeling good. Ready for the season to start. Let's get it.
Yes, sir. So today, the deadline for extensions for guys that were going to become restricted free agents this year, guys like Rui, Brandon Clark got his extension yesterday. DeAndre Hunter got his extension today. Kevin Porter Jr. from the Rockets got his extension today. So all those guys where their rookie deals were up this season, guys got extensions and some guys didn't. And the guy who didn't get their extension was Rui Hachimura. What were your thoughts on the Wizards not getting an extension deal done today?
It makes sense. I kind of saw it happening. With him losing time last season, dealing with mental health and injuries. And, I saw it happening. I think that he eventually will. I think they have a little more flexibility with him being a restricted free agent going into the offseason. So I kind of saw it happening, especially with them talking to Kuz about an extension. They're going to kind of wait and see with Rui. But, we've been saying a lot through the preseason. He's earned a starting role. So I think that he will eventually get that extension, but they're going to wait and see. So to me, it's not very surprising.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's Tommy Shepard. He likes to wait and see. Now, he did jump in front of Daniel Gafford. He did give him the 3-year, $40 million extension. But it does give me a little PTSD of, all our draft picks, Otto Porter, they didn't extend him. And then by the end of his rookie deal, he had a good year. And then, next thing he gets a max contract. So it does concern Kelly Oubre. They traded him before the deadline. Of course, Troy Brown Jr. just didn't work out. So, the Wizards' history, they typically don't bring their rookies back. The only rookies that really got second contracts was Bradley Beal, John Wall, and Otto Porter. Now, like you said, Rui has missed games, so I get that. It is a concern, but you feel like maybe they could have got that Brandon Clark deal done, that 4-year, $52 million, but who knows what Rui said on the other side. Maybe he said that, hey, that's just not enough money. I don't know how much he's looking for. You look at DeAndre Hunter from the Hawks. I'm looking up his contract, and he got paid pretty darn well. He got a really darn good extension. I want to say it was in the $80 million range. And you look at Kevin Porter Jr., you look at his deal as well. He got paid pretty well too. Now I know Kevin Porter Jr., his deal, he only has 1 year guaranteed. So DeAndre Hunter got a 4-year, $95 million contract extension, which is really good money. And I know he's been more consistent than Rui. Kevin Porter Jr., his deal was pretty good as well, but it was just that 1 year guaranteed. But they're playing a 4-year, $82.5 million deal, which is about $20 million per year. So Rui, he may be looking for something like that. I just don't know if he's played. I think his first year and the second year were good seasons, but like we've said, we want to see him rebound the ball better. We want to see him make better. We want to see him defend better. Can he do that? And can he stay on the floor as well? Last year, him missing those 40 games, it was a setback. It did hurt him. I think if he played that whole season, I think an extension would have been done. That's just my opinion, but I think him missing 40 games, it really hurt the evaluation process, and he kind of got lost in the sauce in the rotation. But yeah, I think he's betting on himself, and I think Tommy Shepard wants to see more too. Now, I could see a situation, unfortunately, where he may walk, where we do have the rights to match an offer. Same thing with Otto Porter. The Nets came in with a max deal, and the Wizards just matched it. I don't see Rui getting a max deal, but I could see a team that really likes Rui. There was rumors that the Miami Heat were interested in trading for him last year. So I could see a team that really needs a forward that can score and they can fill it up. And they offer him maybe like $18 million. Tommy Shepard may not want to offer that, or $20 million or something like that. and Rui could walk, and we've talked about Kuz too. He's got to make a decision on Kuzma too. So there's a lot of factors that go into this.
Oh, absolutely. There's a lot of factors, a lot of contracts, because we're talking about Rui, going in as a restricted free agent. Kuz, player option. KP.
Right.
Will Barton's in a expiring contract. So there's a lot of questions, and that's why I've always said I see them making another move. I think they're going to wait and see with Rui, and obviously, you don't know what Rui wants. You don't know what Kuz wants, because Kuz, player option, Kuz is looking to get paid, especially with him reinventing his game and becoming more of a complete player last season as opposed to his years in LA. He's going to command a lot more money. So I don't see Kuz, if it gets to the point where we have not extended Kuz, I don't see him enacting his player option. I see him trying to get money elsewhere or with the team. But so I think it's going to be wait and see. I think eventually, he's too good of a young player to just let it walk. I'm hoping it's not a situation where Otto Porter, where, we just at the last minute wanted to match it, because I think, a lot of us didn't want them to match that contract.
Mm-hmm.
But, that's history. But I think eventually he is going to get done. Whether it gets done in off season, whether it's not a mid season, the deadline is coming up. But I think eventually it will get done. I think between him and Kuz, he's going to be the guy to get that contract. Because, like I said, Kuz is going to demand a lot more money, especially with him being a lot more complete as a player.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a tough decision. Of course, in a perfect world, they would have got this deal done before the season started. But yeah, and Rui, the way he's playing is looking like the price for him will go up, because if he plays the way he did in these 2 preseason, or 4 preseason, I thought he had a good preseason overall. And Bradley Beal had good things to say about him too, and he had a good mini camp. All his teammates have just raved about how good he's been. He's really showed out. So if he goes into the season and averages 15, 16, 17, 18 points a game and improves defensively, then yeah, it's going to be tough. There's just going to be a lot of teams calling for Rui. So we definitely would have liked to see a deal get done. But Tommy Shepard, I think he's being smart as well, where he just wants to see more from him. He wants to see what's going on with Kuz. Maybe you can keep both, or maybe Kuz has a great year and has an all-star type of year, and you're like, hey, we just got to go with Kuz. So that's the thing that's the nature of the business, and it's going to put a lot of pressure on these guys, and these guys got to step up. Like you said, Porzingis too has got a play option too, so you just don't know yet. I think it somewhat was a smart move that Tommy's waiting and seeing what he gets from Rui coming up this year.
Yeah, absolutely. But you brought up a good point. We could sign both of them, but then that brings up another question. Would you go into the penalty for Kuz and Rui? I don't see it happening. Going, you know what I mean? Are you willing to go into? And my mind is blank right now. But going, you know what I mean? Going into the penalty. Are you willing to go to that extent for Kuz and Rui? I don't see it. There's just too much salary for a core that may get you a playoff position, but it's not necessarily going to get you a championship. As much as I love this core, this is not a contender for a championship. So I think there's a lot of questions coming up. I think a lot of people are playing to show their true worth. And like you said, he's betting on himself. So they're going to wait and see. Kuz, his value went up. So, it's a lot of decisions had to be made, going up to the deadline between Wes and Tommy. There's going to be a lot of decisions to be made, because on one hand, you have a lot of young guys. On the other hand, you're trying to build a roster to compete for a playoff position. And it's tough to develop and try to be a playoff team at the same time. Usually, teams that are trying to develop, there are lower tier teams. They have no choice but to develop because it's a young team. So, I think that we have to find an identity for this team. Are we a young team who's trying to find the right pieces for the system, or are we a playoff team who's trying to find the right veteran pieces to put it? I think that is something that they're going to have to determine what it truly is the state of this franchise. Are we trying to drive towards a championship, or are we kind of like, in limbo? We're cool with a playoff run, but if we're playing and we don't make it as cool. And that's what the question I want answered from the owner down. What are we trying to do? Are we really trying to build a playoff team around Brad, or are we really trying to, it's just that's the question I have. What is the identity? What is the goal? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Great, yeah, and you got to wait and see how the season goes too, because if the season goes south, kind of like it did last year, which I don't think it will be. I don't think it will be that bad as it was last year. The trade where they just had to get rid of everybody. They had to get rid of Dinwiddie, Bertans, Trez, Aaron Holiday. They just had to get guys out of here, and they started showcasing guys. I don't see it being that bad. Who knows? But if it gets to that point, then like you said, Ted said he'll never ever tank. What direction are you going to take? If it goes south, now if they start winning games, then you may want to consolidate too and try to bring in another star or somebody else who may be disgruntled somewhere else and try to bring somebody else in. So it's different things you could look at, different ways you could look at it. But the conversation about the direction of the team, we could have a whole episode about that with Ted and Tommy. Ted saying he'll never ever tank, but we're just in this purgatory mode right now. We keep getting the 10th or 9th pick of the draft, and we're not, we have to build through the draft, like you said. We're just not getting top picks, and we just don't have the assets to trade for a star at the moment. So the Wizards, they're in a tough spot, and we have salary cap allocated to Bradley Beal. You can debate whether he's a number one or not. So it's a long conversation we can have about that. But I can't wait to see how Rui plays this year. I hope he earns that contract, and I hope he's rewarded with another contract and I hope hopefully it's with the Wizards, but we'll see. So just the nature of the business. But we're going to get to some quotes that we heard from practice from Bradley Beal talking about Rui and defense as well. But before we do get to that, this episode is brought to you by LinkedIn. These days, every new potential hire can feel like a high-stakes wager for your small business. You want to be 100% certain that you have access to the best qualified candidates available. That's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs helps find the right people for your team faster and free. It's real easy. This is how it works. You add your job in the purple hashtag hiring frame to your LinkedIn profile to spread the word that you are hiring. Makes it super easy to create a free job post on LinkedIn, and then a lot of people will just flock to it, and you get some of the best people out there that are looking for jobs. You get the best candidates coming to your LinkedIn so you can have the best business available. Simple tools like screening questions make it easy to focus on candidates with just the right skills and experience so you can quickly prioritize who you like to interview and hire. Got to finish the year strong this year with great candidates and great team members, and they will help you do that. It's why small businesses rate LinkedIn Jobs #1 in delivering quality hires versus leading competitors. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the qualified candidates you want to talk to faster. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedonnba. That's linkedin.com/lockedonnba to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. Thanks for making Locked On Wizards your first listen every day. Now make your second listen game to game. Every moment, every top performance, every result, Locked On Game to Game covers every game from across the NBA with local analysis that only Locked On can deliver. Follow Game to Game on Locked On NBA, available on the Odyssey app, YouTube, and wherever you get podcasts. All right, so I did want to bring up this Bradley Beal quote today from his interview after practice. Just got to bring this up real quick. Basically, he's just saying that Rui has just really impressed him. But I want to get a word for word. Pulling this up on Twitter, here it goes. So he says Rui has been spectacular all preseason, all summer. The work that he has put in is really starting to show off. Also, Bradley Beal said that Johnny Davis is constantly getting better. And he also says Denny Avdija is constantly evolving, getting better, accepting the defensive challenges as Denny is back in practice as well. So this was from Chase Hughes. Chase Hughes is going to be on our show tomorrow as well. So that should be a great episode. Him giving us some insight on the Wizards. Chase said, I asked this. He tweeted this on Twitter. He said, I asked Bradley Beal which of the young guys have stood out as improved. He mentioned a few and said Rui has been spectacular all preseason and all summer long. This is the breakout question of which one of the young guys do you see having a breakout season this year?
Oh, good question. I see a couple. Really, I see three. I know Corey Kisper's up, but I think he takes a step forward as far as his defense, as far as, he's already a pretty good slasher and his shot is really starting to develop. But the biggest leap. Before I would have said Denny, but with his showing out this preseason, Rui, I think Rui takes a huge step forward and earns not only a starting spot but an extension. Easy. Denny, it's very unfortunate injury. The injury just, man, it's just when you finally get to the point where it's like, oh, I'm about to see Denny, he's about to show out and he gets hurt. That's unfortunate. But I think Denny, he takes a step forward. All three guys I think are going to take a step forward. Now, how far of a step forward, each one is going to be a different kind of scale. Kispert is a role guy. I don't see him taking a huge step to all-star or, even starter position yet. Denny and Rui, I can see both of them start. Now, obviously, we were just talking about, a lot of contracts coming up. If things go bad, you could see both of them start. If the Wizards, if we start bad and people start jumping ship, then we could see later in the year these two starting. So those two guys I'm very intrigued to see because, like I said, with Denny working with Drew Hanlon, I'm very intrigued to see how his shot has developed. He's already had athleticism, and with Rui, he last year he took a step forward with 3-point shot. So what I'm looking for from him is his defense, and we've seen that from Rui. He's putting the effort in the defense. Now, will he be a lockdown guy? No, I don't think so. I think he is what he is. He's a scorer. But if you can get him to put in the effort for defense, that's going to go a long way to solidifying his role in the starting lineup. So I'm going to go with Denny and Rui. I know that's the easy way to go out, but that's what I'm rolling with.
Right, yeah. I mean, you could throw Gafford in the mix too. I think he could be a candidate. He's one of the young guys. I think people forget about him because he wasn't drafted by the Wizards. And I think he kind of had his breakout year already in 2020 when he had that good year with Russell Westbrook, catching lobs. But yeah, I'm with you on Rui too, man. If I had to pick one, I would go with Rui. I think he's shown some really shown some flashes in the preseason. Not even just flashes. I think he's put good games together in the preseason. Not just on the offensive side of the ball, but the defensive effort has definitely looked better, and the rebound has looked better. I've never questioned that he can score. We all know that he can fill it up. He can knock down a mid-range shot. He shot the ball really well from the three-point line, 44% from the three-point line last year. Which is elite which is elite 3-point shooting. Not a lot of 3-point shots per game, but that's elite 3-point shooting. So I think Rui can definitely have a breakout year. He's averaged 13 points a game his rookie season and sophomore year. I think he's got to be more aggressive. Got to take it to the rim with aggression. I think he's a great finisher around the rim too. And then Denny, I think he's certainly certainly has the potential to have a breakout season. Like you said, working out with Drew Hanlon, we saw the development in Eurobasket. The way when he gets the ball in his hands, he's able to not only just bring the ball up, but just control the offense. And I think he'll be able to do that with the bench unit. But it looks like in practice, he's been with the starters. You look at the guys with blue jerseys on. I don't know if that's really going to be the starters or not, but it looked like he was with the starting unit. But I think with the bench unit, he would get more opportunities to really be that point forward that we saw in Eurobasket, where he was really dominating and controlling games. He was getting like 8 assists, 9 assists, getting double-doubles, and he could rebound the ball really well. So, but like you said about Corey, it's all about his three-point shooting. I think Denny and Rui have more of an opportunity to make leaps, I would say, over Corey, because Corey's just going to be defined by I know he does more. He does move without the basketball. He can cut with that. He's a really good cutter, but he's not a guy that's just going to create off the dribble. So I think my guy is Rui.
Yeah. I mean, if I have to choose, I'm running with Rui. It's just he's took so many steps this preseason. His defense, like I said, the effort is there. I don't think he's ever going to be a lockdown guy, but the effort is there. You brought up Gaff. Yes, we did not draft him, but he is a young guy. I love what I see from Gaff. I love his game, but the consistency is what I have issue with. Look, the New York game, Mitchell Robinson did whatever he wanted to do. When Gaff is on, he's good. When he's off, and I think it has a lot to do with mental. When you talk about Denny and confidence, you see that with Gaff. You very often last season, especially the fouls. Foul trouble. That's one thing he has to work on, is getting into the foul trouble so fast. And very often than not, he kind of gets down on himself. He'll smack his hands. He'll look down. I want to see that dog all the time. Like I said, when he's on, you see the dog. He's shutting down the paint. He's getting swats. He's pick and rolling. But when he's down, very often than not, he's out the game. When he's down on himself, he's pretty much taking himself out the game. So I want to see a little more consistency. And I think we will, because with Taj being in the mix as far as being a veteran presence, and with Marcin Gortat being in the mix as far as teaching him, I think he will get better. So yeah, we have a nice young group. They're not a group that's going to wow you. They're not. But Rui has taken a serious step forward, and Denny, it's intriguing because you just don't know what's going to happen. The Kuz contract situation, like I said, if they move Kuz, you could see Denny and Rui in the starting lineup. And it gets interesting from there. So it's a lot of variables. It's a lot of question marks, but overall, I'm very optimistic about these two guys.
Yeah, and Denny's defense. I think Denny's the best defender. You can argue he's the best defender on the team. He's clearly the best wing defender on the team. His defensive versatility, where he can guard 1 through 5, and that's going to be huge. That could be huge in his leap too. He could really impact the game on the defensive side of the ball. So he could be a great two-way player for the team. So that's something to certainly look at. Another quote that stood out to me was Bradley Beal. Also a health update. Chase Hughes tweeted this out today too. Everyone is on track to play in the Wizards season opener on Wednesday in Indiana, except for Corey Kispert. Wes Unseld Jr. would not divulge who starts at the 3, so it's still a question mark there. He indicated that Johnny Davis won't get many minutes early on. We'll work him in slowly. So let's see what Johnny Davis does. Let's see if he even plays against the Pacers. Personally, I don't even think. Do you think he's going to play at all against the Pacers?
Nah, I don't think he's going to play. I think we have a better chance of seeing Jordan Goodwin. I think that Jordan Goodwin needs to get those minutes. Look, from a leadership standpoint, I love to hear that from Brad, showing some confidence in his guys. But let's be real. I don't know if he's wearing sunglasses to practice, but I mean, the defense is there, but the shot just ain't hitting. And I don't see where the improvement is with that shot. He needs some work. But we've said this all the time about Johnny Davis. He has the drive. I think he's going to be all right. But the shot is broken. The confidence is a confidence thing. I truly believe that extensive playing time with the Go-Go is going to give him that confidence. And then they can slowly kind of integrate him into, minutes here and get his confidence up. But right now, where he's at, he's not ready for playing time. He's just, the shots is broke.
Yeah, I don't think he's ready yet. I just, not even just the shot, just, creating a separation, creating a shot for himself off the dribble, creating separation, the explosiveness, the athletic, that explosiveness, getting the shot off. The shot is slow. He got blocked by Derrick Rose. But I do think he can contribute defensively. I think he can contribute rebounding the ball. I think he's a solid passer too. Not a point guard, but just a solid passer. I just think when Corey comes back, I don't see many minutes from him coming in. I don't think he plays at all against the Pacers. I think it's going to be a short rotation. I think DeLon Wright's going to get a lot of minutes. Monte Morris, of course. Danny's going to get a lot of minutes. Whether he's starting off the bench, Will Barton's going to get a lot of minutes. Brad, of course, probably will play 40 minutes. I would think against the Pacers too. So he might get like those minutes, like maybe at the end of the second quarter, where it's like the 2 minutes before the half, or like a minute before the first quarter. It may be something like that. If he can provide some good minutes, then he earned himself some more minutes. So I hope that happens. I hope the time that he gets, he plays well and earns more minutes. That's the best case scenario for Johnny. So last quote I want to go over, then we'll just quickly do some over-unders and wrap it up for tonight. This one is from Chase Hughes as well. He tweeted out, Bradley Beal says the key factor to making sure the Wizards defense performs this year is, quote, me and Kuz, we're going to have the majority of the toughest jobs guarding guys. So we have to make sure it starts with us too, end quote. What were your thoughts on that?
I agree. Those two guys will be the focal point. I think both of them have to get better on defense. Bradley Beal once said he wanted to be all NBA defense. I would love to see Bradley Beal take a step forward with his defense. I think we have enough guys who can defend, who can kind of pick up the slack when Bradley Beal and Kuz aren't on their best with defense. But Kuz, he stepped up with defense last season. So I totally agree. I think this team will be better defensively, but, and this is a big but, transition defense has to get better. The preseason, it was atrocious. I mean, there's no reason why Nick Richards needs to beat you down the court. It shouldn't happen. I think transition defense has to get better. And I think that has to come with effort. They have to have that communication and that dog in them defensively to really be good on defense. But like I said, if Bradley Beal struggles indeed, you have enough guys around him who can kind of pick it up. So I'm not overly concerned defensively. I think they will get better defensively because it all comes down to chemistry and communication.
Right. Yeah, I get what he's saying. I think on social media he got a lot of backlash for it and a lot of trolls and whatnot. But I get what he's saying. Yes, he's going to be guarding. He's going to have some tough coverage. He's going to have to guard, guys like Devin Booker, Donovan Mitchell. You look at the Eastern Conference. You look at the shooting guards. Even Chris Middleton from the Bucks. That's a tough cover too. Brad's going to have to guard those guys. Kuz's going to have to guard. Kuz's going to be matched up against Giannis at times. Same thing like Denny. So yeah, you want your leader to be somewhat of a defensive anchor and be good on. And now Bradley Beal, I get it. He's struggled on defense. He said it himself that they weren't able to guard a parked car, and he was a part of that. I think he's admitted to that too, that they were bad defensively not at times, but throughout the whole year, through the Scott Brooks era. Last year they were bad defensively, so it really hasn't changed much. And it does start with Bradley. You want your best player to be a leader on the defensive end. Now, Denny, like I said, Denny's probably the best defender on the team. DeLon, we could argue now DeLon Wright. Gafford in 2020 was a great defender. Porzingis can be a shot blocker. So there's guys that are known more for the defensive game than Bradley Beal, and Kuz has to step up. So I think that's what he means, is that they're going to have some of the toughest covers. But Denny, most likely, West is going to put Denny on these tough covers like Giannis and Jimmy Butler and Brandon Ingram. Kuz is going to have to guard those guys too. So they are going to have to step up. Klay Thompson, when we play the Warriors, Jimmy Butler too, when we play the Heat. There's just so many guys that are tough matchups that do play that 3 or 4 or even the 2 spot. You can say the Clippers with Paul George and Kawhi. So there are some tough covers for Brad. He's going to have to step up and be ready. I would look at the Eastern Conference and just see, how many guys, James Harden for the Sixers. Is Brad going to be guarding him? That's a tough cover too. So there's just a list of guys at that 2 guard spot, at that matchup for Brad, that are going to be tough covers.
Yeah, West is going to get on his rotation game because he's going to there's going to be a lot of lineups. There's going to be a lot of different lineups this season and I think that's a good thing because we have the personnel to do that. We have a lot of depth. We preach it all the time. We have a lot of guys who can play multiple positions. So very often than not, you could see Denny at the 3 because, like you said, defensively, he's the best defensive wing we got, and he's shown elite level defense. But you can see lineups where Rui would be at the 3. You could see Kuz maybe here and there at the 3. It's just there's a lot of possibilities, and that's why I'm not very concerned as far as player wise. I think that the one thing I want to see from him is just effort, really putting that effort in defensively, communication. This team basketball as far as defense, communication. But I think the players will be all right. I think the spotlight goes on West. I think finding the right guys in the right positions for the right matchups is something that he's going to have to be better at this season than he was last season. Because years past, very often than not, we just had guys who they were there. We didn't have a lot of pieces, didn't have a lot of depth. It was just like, who's going to play the 3? Well, just throw Troy Brown out there or Isak Bond. It's just some. We have more flexibility. We have more personnel. So I think we'll be fine defensively. I think we'll be fine. But I think it has more to do with coaching. I think he really has to implement his defensive schemes and really make defense truly the focal point. They really had to prioritize defense because they didn't do that this preseason. Same with, and that was a deficiency last season, defense. Same thing with 3-point shooting. First game, Japan, they looked good, and then it went downhill. The 3-point shooting just went down. And we brought up Kuz and Bill. The 2 people I want to shoot better and defend better is Kuz and Brad. So, no, I like hearing that from them, but we could talk about it all day. Until you put that effort and show us that you can play defense, is hopeful thinking right now.
Yeah, it's the same song every year. They say the same thing. Because I remember last year, West Until, guys in the presser, they're like the first practice was 80% defense, 20% offense. They were good for the first 13 games, were 10-3, and then the rest of the season they ended up 25th in defensive efficiency, and they were actually worse than what they were in 2020 under Scott Brooks. They regressed from 20th to 25th. So it's good to talk about it. We just got to see it. We've heard this so many times year after year from the Washington Wizards. So, but once again, I get what Bradley Beal is trying to say and step up and be a leader. He just, he's got to step up and defend. It can't be a turnstile out there or a cone on the defensive side of the ball. So we'll do 5 quick over-unders. We'll probably continue tomorrow with Chase. First one, My first over-under is Bradley Beal 25 points a game. You can just say over-under, yes or no, real quick, rapid-fire style. We'll start off Bradley Beal 25 points a game for the season.
I'm gonna go under. I have him
okay.
around 23.
Okay. All right. Porzingis 60 games played this year.
I'm going over. I think he's
Okay.
gonna come in healthy.
Okay. All right. Corey Kispert, over under 35% 3-point shooting this year.
I'm going over.
Okay. Denny 35% from the 3-point line.
I'm going under slightly. I see an improvement, but I got under.
Okay. All right. Wizards winning 43 games this year.
Over. I got 45.
Okay. All right. Who gets more minutes this year? Rui or Denny or Will Barton?
Wow. Got me on the spot.
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm gonna say Rui.
Okay. Now, Will the Thrill?
Nah, because I think he's gonna go become a sixth man. I think Rui is gonna start. I think even if he doesn't start out starting, he's shown enough to me that he's gonna start. So I got Rui.
Okay. All right. I like it. We'll continue tomorrow. We'll probably hit Chase up with a couple of rapid fire over unders tomorrow to wrap up our episode tomorrow with Chase Hughes. So make sure you guys tune in to that episode tomorrow. I just want to thank you guys for making Locked On Wizards your first listen every day. Now make your second listen Locked On NBA. The NBA season is here, and our local NBA experts and insiders have you covered on and off the court all season long. All the biggest stories around the NBA every Monday through Friday, less than 30 minutes. Available on YouTube, Odyssey, and wherever you get podcasts. So thank you guys for listening. Make sure you guys subscribe and hit the notification bell on YouTube. Also, leave a 5-star review wherever you can. We greatly appreciate it. Hail to the Wizards. Peace.